Hi guys, how are you? So today I'm going to respond to one of the questions someone has been asking, and many of you have been asking over and over about the status of the increasing of the diversity visas numbers from the current number of 55,000 diversity visas to 80,000 visas. What is the current status? That's number one. But number two is, if it's going to change, who will be the first beneficiary of this change? Will it be the DV 2021 who are waiting to end in September? In case everything is going to be approved by before that? Or will it be the DV 2022 winners, or there will be the upcoming DV 2023 winners? So it is very big, a mix of so many things. So bear with me when I'm going to talk about specific on this one. And I want you to follow me very, very careful when I'm going to address this one. Because when I'm addressing the increasing of this one, I'll be taking you back into the basics about the legislations process in the Congress in the United States, and the possibility of power of the president, and overall the majority and minority in the House of the Representative as well as the Senate when it comes to the major legislations of this magnitude. Welcome everyone, this is EBM. I welcome you to the headquarters of opportunities here at the EBM Scholars. If today is your first time to come to this wonderful channel, please consider subscribing. I know some of you are brand new people to watch my videos, but what will be the best way than subscribing, learning, and sharing to others so that they can also get this good information? So let me go directly to the topic of today about the increasing of the number of the diversity visa lotteries. So there is the overall the issue about the political parties. Let me go take you there. There is Democrat, there is Republican part. Usual Democrats are most of the time supporting a lot of immigration to allow so many people to come. There are so many other reasons behind that. I don't want to go into politics too much. Republican, they are very restrictive on what ways someone can be used as long as it's a legal way, and they have a certain restriction on that based on the economy and other factors. So all those kind of things are there. So whether it's Biden, whether it's any person from Democratic, there are things people will be expecting from Democrats when it comes to immigration. And no matter whether it's Trump, whether it's Bush, whether it's Reagan, whatever the person is, once it's Republican, there are certain things are expected from Republican when it comes to immigration. That is someone has to understand. Then let's go to the next line. The diversity visa program was established by the Act of Congress. That means, when I say Congress, there is House of Representatives. They pass a legislation, then it goes to the upper parliament, which is the Senate, and there are 100 senators. Each state has 2 voting senators. Despite how big it is, different from the House. House depends on the population. California has many representatives, but when it comes to this, to the Senate, California has the same number of senators, just like Vermont or Wyoming. It doesn't matter. All have the equal power of representation. So each one has 2 senators. So over there, they vote. Then it goes to the president. President signs, become the law. In this kind of setup, in the House of Representatives currently, Democrats is majority. But don't just say, oh, they're majority. By how many votes? Up to now, it's just like 5-6 votes. So it's a very slim chance. If there are very few people can not support the legislation, it's going to be over. So any legislation, even if Democrats, they have to be very careful to take it to the to the House of Representatives. When it goes to the Senate, the current composition, there are 48 senators who are Democrats and 2 who are independent. But these independent are technically Democrats. Bernie Sanders, for instance, obviously is a Democrat, but they call independent. So technically there are already 50 Democrats and Republicans are 50. So it's a 50-50 split in the Senate. So anything cannot go through. But if it happens there are 50 and 50, usually vice president is kind of like the president of the Senate or the chairperson of the Senate. So if there is a tie, vice president is going to vote to break the tie. And the vice president is Kamala Harris at the moment, who is Democrat. So if he's voting, it's going to be 51. They are going to win. But this is very interesting thing you need to understand. Not all legislations you can vote just by 51 votes or just the simple majority. By simple majority is just like if just like it happens, if you get 51 or just like someone is sick, if you exceed 1 vote, game over. No. The major legislations, they require 60 votes of the Senate. I'm not talking about the House of Representatives, I'm talking about the Senate. That's why you cannot impeach Trump. It was a joke. Why? Because there are 50 Republicans. There was no way 10 Republicans, yes, there will be some who will be supporting you Democrats. There is no way 10 Republicans to move to support Democrats. This is the politics. So you see what is happening. You cannot get 60 votes. Like to get 50 of all Democrats and 10 Republicans to support you. It is impossible. But there is something called the budget reconciliation process. The budget reconciliation process allows the simple majority. That is what, when it happens, it's not happening all the time. It's just happening like twice per year, whatever, something like that. That's what already Democrats have used to pass the stimulus, where we go to 1,000 and something, whatever, for every families. It was 2 something trillion, because there was no way Republicans are going to pass through that way. So they bypass that one with what they call the budget reconciliation process. But there is a limit of budget reconciliation processes. You cannot take all the time budget reconciliation. There are processes, what items. But on that particular opportunity, Democrats did a big mistake. If they wanted to use the increase or the Citizenship Act. So Biden, when after they winning the office, they did a lot of executive orders, and then Biden administration introduced what they call the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021. So that bill was drafted. It has so many promising things. And the bill was planning to be part of the budget reconciliation process when they're going with the stimulus. That means it will be easier for Democrats to use the simple majority. But that's a problem. They came to find out there are some of Democrats who are not supporting the inclusion of the immigration component into the simple majority of that one. They wanted just to be strictly on that way. So because they didn't want to miss any supportive, so Nancy Pelosi as a speaker decided to block, not including the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021 on that particular bill or stimulus in general. For that particular case, it is practically difficult now to go into a major legislation to get 60 votes, because remember, budget reconciliation, you can get just beat by 1 vote. So even if Republican all 50 vote and all Democrats vice president votes, it will be 51. But now you need 60 votes to pass the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021. It has to go as a single major legislation on its own, stand-alone bill, which you cannot be able to do. So that big mistake, I don't know whether it's a mistake or strategic. I don't know. I'm not in either side. For not doing that way, there is no way, quicker way, you can be able to get major support from both parties. You have to compromise so many things. for both parts, because you cannot go as Democrat alone into the. You need to be including both parties to get support on both parties, because you need 60 votes. So with that regard, another mistake they did was now they are doing the the infrastructure bill, which is going to be like 4 trillion something, a lot of money. Again, they want to go through budget reconciliation process, which is a very crazy idea to do that, because you are making Republican more pissed off, more upsetting. In that way, this will be the last chance. In that way, you cannot come with any major bill to be able to do that. So with that particular said, will the U.S. Citizenship Act go through? Obviously, up to this moment, no. Why I'm saying no at this moment? Because it is standing as the major legislation on their own. And in order to do that, you need to get the 60 votes of the Senate. In the House, there is still a debate on that. Because if you pass that one, it is a big challenge. Some of the states, they don't want all whatever millions of people to be given citizenship or green card, because they say you are going to destroy our labor market. So there is a big debate on that. Who will be able to be given? Are we going to give all 11 million undocumented immigrants and all other people? It's a very big situation. So because of that, the House itself, they decided to fear to take that one even within the House, because even AOC and other people within House, where they are majority, House of Representatives, they fear that one. Some of them, they say we are not going to support it. So for that particular case, they decided to take it into what we call the Judicial Committee to discuss options, and they agree with the Republican on certain terms. That's number one. Number two is, in the Senate on their own, now that bill is not in the floor. It is also hasn't been able to be discussed. It is also on what we call the committee, the Judicial Committee. We do not know how long it has been, it will be there. And this one has been there since March. Up to now is dead silent. They are still doing with other major things like infrastructure, it was a stimulus or whatever, but that one hasn't been discussed in detail. And then there are bigger issues like at the border crisis, which now Biden made the executive order to stop deportation, and then all migrants illegal are coming. So there is a big situation there. So which is a priority versus going to deal with the U.S. Citizenship Act. So with that particular sense, so the DV 2021, who are supposed to end in September 30th this year, 2021, will not be beneficiary of this one, because there is no way this, whatever process goes, to be able to be gone by the end of this year. No way. So possible 2022, possible. But remember, they have to do everything before November 2022. Why? Because, in case you didn't know, in November 2022, there is another election, we call it the mid-election, of some of the senators and the House. You do not know who will be the majority. There is a possibility Republican can flip a few votes and take Senate, where nothing will be able to go. Well, or they can take also the House, because the difference is just like 5 seats. So there is so much things on that particular situation. But Democrats have to comply. And in order to say that way, ask yourself, while Joe Biden was the vice president, President Barack Obama, at the same time, between 2008 going to 2010, around that time, Democrats were the majority in the House of Representatives, were majority in the Senate, and they were in the White House. Why didn't they pass the legislation of U.S. Citizenship Act of that kind of nature? They ended up with introducing the DACA, but because some of Democrats don't agree with those stipulations in the immigration, so they voted, even in the Senate, 5 Democrats voted no against major legislations during the time of Obama-Biden administration, where the Democrats were in charge of the White House, Senate, and Congress. So there is no guarantee now all Democrats will be able to support. Plus, Republicans will not be able to support. So you need to come on here to have the bipartisan agreement. So up to that moment, possible DV 2022, it depends. That is if they can be able to pass this legislation before September 30th, 2022. Because in November, game is going to change because there is another election. You do not know who will be the majority owner or majority in the House or in the Senate. Anything can flip at that particular time. So, in my opinion, any politician is using you. So I can simply directly say, even Biden used the immigration as a tool to be in the office. Because up to now, when Biden went into the office, they didn't change administration, they didn't change the immigration suspension of Trump until it ended almost by March. When it was about to end, that's when they ended. But they didn't end in January with all executive orders which are bigger, like ending the pipeline, ending border, but they didn't say we are ending the immigration suspension. They didn't stop that. Why? I don't know. Even now, some of those lawyers, immigration lawyers, who were so upset with the Trump, like immigration lawyers from Isla, now they say, oh, I saw the post, they say, oh, even Biden and Trump, they're the same, they don't want immigrants and they're whatever. These are politicians, I usually tell people. So all these kind of things, because it comes to the certain bigger laws, sometimes they are using you or using certain opportunities to do something. So, in my opinion, it is a long way. So, don't, DV 2021, that will not be able to be beneficiary. DV 2022 winners, maybe, if it will be able to go through. But now there are bigger issues they have to resolve before they come to agree. And the more Democrats are using it, budget reconciliation of the stimulus and the budget reconciliation again for this infrastructure bill, Republicans will vote no. Anything comes on their power to do that one. Just okay. Now it is you are using your many number, and then when you come to the major legislation, you want our support. We are going to put all no. That will be the political dead end for the immigration. I'm sorry, but that's the truth. I want you to be able to understand the magnitude of this situation and what will be the possible situation. So sorry about the bad news, but it's a long shot to the future.